Williamsburg is home to some of the most cherished stories in American history, but there's a very important story that hasn't been told until tonight. For the last 2 months, archaeologists have been uncovering the origins of what could be the First Baptist Church, one of the first all-black congregations in America. As Philip Townsend shows us, they are just scratching the surface on this major discovery.
Even in the rain, a light shines into the past here in colonial Williamsburg. Cobblestone paths leading to rich brass doorknobs that open our minds to stories dating back centuries. But one story, hidden in plain sight, has yet to be told.
There was a plaque, and that was all that was there. Well, where's the rest of the story?
The rest of the story, as Connie Harshaw would soon find out, was buried under a parking lot here on Nassau Street. The origins of the First Baptist Church, one of the earliest all-black congregations in American history.
But how do you tell a story with no artifacts? How do you tell a story with no proof that there was a church there?
Unearthing the past was something she couldn't do alone. Luckily, the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation was all in. After finding a donor, they brought in their lead archaeologist, Jack Gary.
If we want to know more about this site, and we want to commemorate it and interpret it in the right way, we have to do archaeology.
Using ground-penetrating radar, the aha moment came sooner than expected.
The foundations showed up right away, so we knew that we had a really good chance of learning more about this property once we started to actually dig.
And the more they dug, the more they found. For the first time, uncovering what they believe is physical evidence of the all-black congregation dating back to the 18th century. Shards of glass from a church window, fragments of a porcelain doll, even an inkwell. The story was coming together.
You had slaves who were worshiping in secret, and that you also had freed African Americans as well. And then a townsman, a white townsman, Jesse Cole, donated a plot of land for them to worship. We got it right then. There was a time when a white townsman and a black preacher thought that it was important enough to allow people to gather, even though it was illegal, to worship and serve their God the way that they wanted to. This congregation is still worshiping 244 years later.
And there's still work to be done. Phase 1 of the project just finished. In January, they'll begin a bigger, year-and-a-half-long excavation to try and figure out exactly what the building looked like. But their progress is already shining a light on an untold story, the story of the First Baptist Church. No longer in the shadows here in colonial Williamsburg. For 13 News Now, I'm Philip Townsend.